Hi, I'm Avital Ash.
I'm Jessica Richards.
And this is...
He's right behind you.
Ah!
He's right behind you.
Very excited to have third time guest?
Seventh time
guest. Amir Blumenfeld.
What's up?
We're still figuring out this whole recording from home thing, but I feel like trying really hard to project for the mic, and then Amir's really casual, so maybe I'll just take my cues from you. Is this right?
Yeah, I think your voice is louder in your own head, so
No.
I'm actually louder than you are.
Whoa, he's mansplaining volume to me.
Jessica, help.
Before we dive into today's episode, two quick updates that I want to share. One is that our former guest, also who did the podcast twice, Christina Karchner, is on Never Have I Ever right now, and she's blowing up. People are obsessed with her. There's all these tweets about how beautiful she is, and I have to say, I get it.
Oh, she's gorgeous.
Oh, it's crazy. Get out of here.
And I watched that whole show in one sitting.
She's so good in it. I want more Christina. And secondly, I'll do a quick shameless self-promotion, which is that years ago I made a series called 7P10E about a long-distance relationship recorded over Skype, and it's very timely now that we're in quarantine. So if you haven't watched it, please check it out. You can just go to www.7p10e.com. That's like 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern.com. And I think it's an enjoyable ride.
I would agree.
And we can put the website on the Instagram.
Oh, yeah. That's it for my updates. Jessica, what have you got?
I'm on book 15.
What is it?
Well, I'm about to start a new book called No Judgment. It's a rom-com about a hurricane.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm doing what I can to survive, which is reading a lot of rom-coms.
You read 15 books?
Yes, so far.
Damn. I don't even have the attention span to read Instagram comments anymore. I'm impressed.
Well, I keep thinking is this impressive? Because if it's all I'm doing, it feels like it's less impressive. Maybe I should have gotten through more books by now.
Reading is always impressive.
Speaking of reading, this is a smooth segue. We're doing American Psycho today, which is one of Amir's favorite movies of all time. But before I let you say anything about it, I will say he was talking about all the comments that are referencing Reagan in this movie. And I was like, bring it up on the podcast. And he said, you can bring it up so you sound smart. And I said, well, I've read the book, so I can already sound smart. And I have. And I am. And I do.
So watch this. The whole thing's an allegory, people.
I did not read this book.
I read it in high school, and it haunts me still.
Was it assigned?
It was the best teacher I've ever had. I think about him all the time, Mr. Shinosky. I love you. And it was an AP English class, and we already took the AP test, but the year wasn't over. So it was all right, let's pick something sort of for fun that we can all read and talk about as a class. And we landed on that, which, scarred me even as a senior.
Yeah, that's crazy you read it in school. I'm from Texas. That would not have been allowed.
Probably for the best.
Amir, why do you love this movie so much?
I love that it's funny. I like the words people say. I like the way it looks. I like the story. I like the action. I like the plot. Everything about it is good to me.
That's good. I know Jessica's favorite part.
Reese Witherspoon?
Yeah. Who actually ended up being my favorite part too. But yeah, let's dive in.
I didn't realize until, 45 minutes in that I've never seen this whole movie. Because I remember renting it when it came out, whenever it wasn't at Blockbuster, and I was, 13 or something, because of Reese Witherspoon. And then when there wasn't very much Reese Witherspoon and there was a lot of murder, I think originally I turned it off when they murdered Jordan Catalano from My So-Called Life, because I was like, oh, never mind. This is not for me.
But you loved horror.
This, yes, but it's a different type of horror than what I loved when I was growing up.
Okay.
I don't think as a kid or as a teenager, I was really open to satire.
Yeah, I don't know if I understood satire.
I understood that it was stylized. I got that, but I was also, he's killing Jared Leto, who I had a big crush on, and Reese Witherspoon's nowhere to be found. So my interest kind of disappeared.
That makes sense.
So this was a fun watch for me because I really didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah, I remembered a couple scenes very vividly. And then, of course, you see that Halloween costume every year.
And the cast was surprising. I didn't realize so many people I knew were in it.
Yeah, Justin Theroux and Lucas.
Josh Lucas.
Josh Lucas.
Willem
Samantha
Dafoe.
Mathis.
Yeah. Willem Dafoe, I didn't remember at all. Wait, what do you know her from?
The Thing Called Love, which is a movie I put on every time I'm like in a really, really low place. I always put on A Thing Called Love and it cheers me up.
Oh, good to know.
I put on American Psycho whenever I'm in a low place.
So we both love Samantha Mathis movies when we're low.
Which one is Samantha Mathis in this?
Oh, she's the one he's having an affair with, who is like passing out at dinner.
Oh, yeah. And she goes out with that tumbling dickweed.
And he looked so familiar, and I had to look him up, and I was like, I feel like he's in Whit Stillman movies, and what's weird is he is, but not in any of the ones I've seen. I thought he was like in Metropolitan, and he's not. So I don't know.
I love that you referenced Whit Stillman because I recently was watching one of his movies, and I was so excited about it. I knew him. He's also from Big Love with Chloe Sevigny.
Cool. I haven't seen that. Yeah, I didn't remember her in it. I mean, it made sense. She's very of the time. Also, I'm a big New Order fan, and whenever we hear that song, Amir's like, this is from American Psycho. I'm like, this is from New Order. This is fucking New Order.
Yeah, from American Psycho.
Do we walk through? I mean, there's a part of me that's just like, I don't know. You've all seen American Psycho, right? You know the gist. This Wall Street douchebag who's really into himself and a total narcissist goes on a murdering spree, or does he? And that's basically the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the height of, I guess, Republican Reaganism in the late 80s, and he embodies everything that, I guess, this liberal author hates about conservatives.
You know, Bret Easton Ellis there's been some debate. I don't know that he's fully a Republican these days, but he has spoken in a way that has made liberals mad, where he's not necessarily condemning the behavior of Republicans and Donald Trump these days.
Yeah. Well, you know, we all grow up and get our head on straight eventually. Whether it happens today or tomorrow, it'll happen to you. Goes out with that loser Bateman. I mean, what a dork.
It is so weird to think of Bret Easton Ellis as like anything but a liberal. But I don't know. I should look it up in case there have been updates. But it was like a year ago that he was making headlines.
IMDb had like a quote that I guess like a reporter or someone that reviewed the movie said at the time was like, a book written by a misogynist turned into a film directed by a feminist. And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, there were a lot of moments where I was like, first of all, I love that it's directed by a woman. And
written by her and another woman.
Yeah. I don't know if I could have enjoyed a lot of those scenes. I think it would have been different done by a man. And also I probably would have just felt differently about it.
1000%.
She has a new movie coming out. I was like, this sounds so good. Also didn't realize she was Canadian. That's cool. I like the Canadians.
Canadian made American Psycho?
The horror. She has a movie about Salvador Dali coming out with Ezra Miller, Tim Roth, Ben Kingsley, and Leslie Manville.
Yeah.
I'm into that. All right, back to American Psycho.
Well, just right off the bat, have you guys seen Dexter?
No.
I've seen a bunch of season 1, not all of it.
The opening of this is like reminiscent of Dexter to me in a way that I was like, oh, is Dexter trying to do an homage or something to American Psycho, where it's like food. At first you think it's blood and then it turns into food.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A charming serial killer.
Well, Amir was saying as we were watching this, he's like, you know, the trick of it is that he is this horrible person and you're still rooting for him. And I was like, I'm not.
Yeah, not I. I'm not.
I'm enjoying watching this movie, but I'm not rooting for him at all.
No, I was openly rooting for Christy.
Oh, yeah, of course. Christy, the one who he names Christy. He picks up a prostitute and tells her that she's Christy now.
Yeah, that whole stuff was really hard for me to watch.
Yeah, it is hard to watch.
Not really a blonde. More of a dirty blonde.
That's the next one.
Yeah.
Not Christy.
That's Sabrina.
Yeah, Sabrina. But you're rooting for him, Amir. Is it because you hate women?
It must be, right? Otherwise, why would I be rooting for him? I think it's because he's really jacked and handsome and funny. I want him to continue surviving at least until the end of the movie.
Yeah. I appreciated how much effort he put into his skincare.
It's a good L'Occitane plug, if that's how you say it. L'Occitane, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's men don't put enough effort into that, and as women, we have to put so much effort that I was like, he gets it.
Yeah. In the morning, if your eyes are a little puffy, do you wear an ice mask too?
I'll dunk my head into an ice bowl.
Wow.
Whoa.
Patrick Bateman style.
Yeah, just put my face in there. It gets rid of the puffiness, and it makes my skin a lot smoother.
Do either of you ever try to refer to Justin Bateman and accidentally say Patrick Bateman? Because I do it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, because didn't watch this movie.
Well, you're going to start to.
Yeah. Well, even also from reading the book.
Justin Bateman
I'll report
wishes.
back.
Oh, by the way, have you read the book, American Psycho?
I have read the book.
That's cool.
I will, if you guys want to hear, point out some very quick choice excerpts, things that stay with me 15 years later.
Okay.
Ready, Jessica?
I'm ready.
They are, 1, at some point, he kills someone and then cuts off their head and then is fucking their head. I don't remember if his dick is in their mouth or in their, like, neck guts. But he does have sex with a head.
Does he wear a condom for that?
I don't think so.
Is that where the term getting head comes from?
Amir's canceled. Another thing that I remember finding very funny, even though as I'm about to say it, it's very disturbing, is that at the gym where he works out, which, do we ever see the gym in this?
No, he sort of works out at home.
Yeah.
Very quarantine chic.
Yeah. Jinx, you guys. He goes to like a gym or a spa or whatever, some fancy members only thing in my memory anyway. And he has a locker that's filled with women's vaginas with like a ribbon tied around his favorite. That was fun. And then my favorite thing, which is not in the movie, is he goes to a U2 concert, and I think he's like front row or second row, he's VIP, and makes eye contact with Bono. And in that moment, he knows that Bono is telling him to kill someone, or maybe specifically to kill a child. And that to me was hilarious, just that he like thinks he's having this conversation with Bono via their eyes.
I guess I can understand production-wise why they cut those scenes from the movie.
It's kind of like the ATM machine telling him it wants a cat.
Yeah, that was the compromise. We gotta cut Bono, but we can keep the ATM feed me the kitty part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet an ATM had a lot more affordable rates than Bono.
Yeah, it's true. But they did get the rights to so many amazing songs, and they get to like talk about Genesis and Whitney Houston, and they get all that music, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But they didn't get the rights to any Whitney Houston songs. I read that where it was like, she said absolutely not. So then they just talk about it.
Oh, right. I guess you don't hear it. They just mention.
The Greatest Love of All is playing in the background. Maybe it's the instrumental track and not her voice.
Yeah, 'cause that's what I read was she said no.
Wow. So you can still talk about it and have the instrumental, but not any actual Whitney.
I guess it's also possible she said no, but the publisher said yes. I don't know. I don't know enough about the music industry.
We'll look into it.
We won't.
That's what you should do on quarantine is really dig deep into the music industry.
The music rights of American Psycho.
Yeah, get the Wonder Years finally released on DVD.
I will say my favorite scene is the scene where Patrick Bateman is breaking up with his girlfriend, Evelyn.
Reese Witherspoon.
Yep. And she's so cavalier about it. She just like doesn't take it seriously at all. And she says, but you like when he says that he's serious and he wants to break up, she says, but your friends are my friends and my friends are your friends. I really don't think it would work. Killed me. I loved that moment.
I love in the limo that she's like, we should really get married and get Annie Leibovitz to photograph it.
Yeah.
And that he's like, I can't take the time off of work.
I don't understand why you don't just leave that place. Because I want to fit in.
Oh yeah, that's so good.
It's so clear.
It's interesting. So his dad like runs it or something?
She says your dad practically owns that place. So like he's probably everybody that we see is like 27 to 30-year-old vice president, completely interchangeable white guys. Though he has a slightly better haircut. And I guess his dad is like a president, so it's like the same thing but 50-year-olds.
Yeah, maybe all their dads are presidents.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering because I was like, if I would think that people would know who he is if it's like your daddy runs the company or something, but maybe all their dads do.
Yeah. I'm almost positive that the restaurant that they're constantly trying to get into in the book was also called Dorsia because I remembered the name. But I'm bummed that we never get to see it. I want to see what Dorsia's like.
We see like glimpses of fancy restaurants that are like being made fun of, and I guess Dorsia is one of those. Like,
right, but Dorsia's peak.
Yeah. Is it above Espas? Is it above Texarkana? Of course.
What's like the modern day Dorsia in LA?
I feel like the foodie movement in LA is now like casual, like Jitlada and like cool hole in the walls. Fine dining is 80s. cool
True.
street carts are now.
But what's that one place?
Like Bestia, maybe?
Oh yeah, Bestia. But even that's
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
everyone
Bestia.
wants it to be casual. There's no more white tablecloths.
Yeah.
But I mean, like the place that if you were like, oh, can I get a reservation on Friday? They would laugh at you.
Yeah, Bovel.
Oh, we've been there. I was thinking of what are those places? Okay, there's a couple places. There's one that's like, I think it's all in darkness so that your taste is heightened because you can't see.
Pass.
Spago was like an original LA 80s and 90s fancy restaurant.
Oh, yeah. Spago's Wolfgang Puck.
Yeah.
I'm looking this up now. Like a sensory deprivation restaurant. There's a place called Opaque.
That's a great name. Sea urchin ceviche.
Another place called the Blind Cafe, which seems kind of offensive. It's in Seattle. But then isn't there a place that's also a famous chef and it's called just like meat, but not that?
Oh yeah, Animal.
Animal.
Oh, yeah.
Animal seems like it could be a bestia.
How'd you get a reservation
John and
on
Vinny.
Friday?
I don't know who they are, but that's because I could not get a reservation at Dorsia to save my life. Which neither can he, and I kind of like that. Like, he's supposed to be, like, important, or at least he's self-important, but even he can't get in.
He's not as important as Paul Allen. I mean, you saw his business card.
That business card scene is crazy.
It's so good. That's maybe my second favorite scene.
I think that's the most memorable part of the movie.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
see
I
Paul
think-
Allen's card.
That part and him in the raincoat doing the little dance.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about Huey Lewis in the news.
Yeah, that part was very memorable to me.
It's also weird how young and old Willem Dafoe looks in this movie. Like, he somehow looks exactly the same and also 100 years younger.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He's so good.
It was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It's probably like 50, and now he's 70?
I don't know. Or maybe he was 40
But-
now.
Yeah, 40 and 60.
I read on IMDb that the director, she had him do each scene 3 different ways. One where he knew Patrick was guilty, one where he didn't know, and one where he wasn't sure. And then she edited all 3 of those together into each version.
That's cool.
That's really cool. Yeah, it's weird that Mary Harron hasn't had a huge career. She's directed a lot of TV, but I'm excited for her next movie.
Well, and the development of this, I read all about it on Wikipedia, and that was really interesting about how many male directors got their hands on it, and then it was supposed to be Cronenberg for a while,
Oh, interesting.
and then at a certain point, Mary Harron got it, and she wanted Christian Bale to do it, and they had a handshake agreement, and then Lionsgate bought it, and they wanted Leonardo DiCaprio to do it.
Whoa.
I guess he did it 20 years later as Wolf of Wall Street.
And she didn't want Leo. She wanted Christian Bale. And so Leonardo DiCaprio was going to replace her with Oliver Stone.
Wow.
And then they had a male write it, a person who's a man. And it was this whole back and forth thing. But then it was going to be a big budget thing because Leo's asking price was $21 million. So then the movie was going to be a $40 million movie. It's just one of those crazy development journeys where. And then at one point, Ewan McGregor was going to do it, and Christian Bale was friends with him, and he was like, please don't do it, I want to do it.
Mm.
Yeah, this was one of his earliest films, Christian Bale.
Well, not really, because he did Newsies and Swing Kids and Empire of the Sun.
But isn't this his first man role?
Yeah, maybe as an adult.
Yeah. This was the movie that made him a movie star, I feel like. Because then this really opened the leading man, he can do whatever he wants roles.
Yeah.
You know, he was only 24 or 25 when he shot this.
Crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
He's such an adult, it feels.
Seriously, if you had said he was 44, I would have bought it.
Right.
He's also like that. I cannot tell how old he is ever.
Well, it's because of his incredible skincare routine.
So fine, Mr. Bateman. So smooth.
I love those moments where normally in a movie I'd be really annoyed, and I'm not in this because of, I don't know how to phrase this. I'm phrasing this badly. Basically, when he picks up Christy the second time, there's that feeling of she gets in the car, he gives her the check, and I'm like, run, get out of the car. And she does. And it's so satisfying. And then, of course, she comes back because he's holding a bigger wad and she wants that cash.
That wad.
Yeah. But I love that she's smart enough to grab it and get out of the car to start.
That whole thing where they have the threesome sex, and then he's like, I'm not done. And then it just cuts to them being beat up and really scared. That I thought was really effective.
Me too. I love that they
Of,
don't
like-
show it.
Yeah, of like us really wondering like how much of a monster is he? Because
Right.
they're really scared. They do really good acting in that scene, those girls.
They do. I wonder also in this world, you know, whether it's actually happening or this is all in his imagination is to be discussed by us soon. But when and why does he exercise restraint? Like, he doesn't kill those girls the first time. Why?
I think he's not murdering people yet. They want to show him a build up.
He says that a few times, like, I think my mask of sanity is about to slip. He's like, yeah, that he says, like, I'm losing control.
Right. I also love that he talks about how he, like, doesn't have any feelings and he's not a real person. But then, here, do you want to quote that line where he's about to burst into tears?
Which one?
That he's afraid they're not going to get a table?
Oh, yeah. I'm on the verge of tears when we arrive at a spas because I realize we might not get a good table, but then we do. And the relief washes over me in an awesome wave.
Like, he does have emotions, but they are just about the
He's
most.
also on the verge of tears when he enters Paul Allen's apartment because he realizes he has a better view of the park and thus pays more for his place.
That part, I think, was my favorite, where he's like, I feel so panicked when I notice. And it's like, you think he's panicked because he just murdered someone and is trying to cover it up.
Yeah, no. Where'd you get that overnight bag?
And he answers.
Yeah.
Jean-Paul Gaultier. That he's like stuffing a dead body into in a trunk, pretending to not be himself, but then he still can't resist name dropping Gaultier.
Well, and also all the Trump things where it's like, is that Ivana Trump?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that, too. Why would Ivana Trump be at Texarkana?
And he's trying to act like it's such a cool hot spot. Dorcia's over. What does he say?
Oh, yeah. Nobody eats there anymore.
Yeah. I also like, similar to Christy leaving the limo that second time, I like that when he pretends to make a reservation at Dorcia, Chloe Sevigny's character is like, you didn't leave a name. Because I noticed it too.
Yeah. I also, in the beginning when we meet her and he says that thing where he's like, you know, be a doll. And he's like, don't wear that outfit again. Wear a dress or skirt. Wear high heels. Like, you're prettier than that. That I was immediately like, cool, not on his side.
Yeah, same.
And high heels. I love high heels. And then she's kind of like smitten by it. Oh,
Yeah.
Patrick.
She's like kind of flattered. He's like, you're prettier than that. And she's like, oh, thanks. Whatever.
Come on. You're prettier than that.
That's like the patriarchy. It's like the littlest backhanded compliment. And you're like, oh my God, he likes me.
Yeah. Which at the top of the movie, it made me wonder if they had had some sort of an affair or relationship. But then it seems like, no, there's just this like subtle flirtation, you know, if negging a girl for her outfit is considered a flirtation.
Yeah.
And then again, that moment, he's killed at that point and he doesn't kill her when she comes over.
He almost does.
Yeah. And then he asks her to go. He's a good guy, that Patrick Bateman. He doesn't take a nail gun to her fucking skull.
Well, Reese Witherspoon saves by calling in.
Oh, that's right.
But why does that save it?
It like breaks the tension of he's about to kill her and then that phone call happens and I don't know why, but it breaks the spell he's under where he's like losing control. It like snaps him out of it.
She's like, are you still dating her? And then he's like, yeah, maybe you should go. I'm afraid of, like, I can't control myself.
Yeah, he's like, I'm scared if you stay, I will hurt you. And you can tell she's like, oh, he's like emotionally hurt. He's so nice.
Yeah, I don't want to get bruised.
Yeah.
That line was bonkers to me. I don't want to be bruised.
I think the most painful part to me, I mean, the chainsaw hitting Christy is pretty brutal, but still I think the part that got me the most is when he kills the homeless man and his dog. Not just because of the dog, even though usually the dog will do it for me, but because he's like fucking with his feelings in a way that was really upsetting to me, and like telling him that he stinks and he should get a job, and it's just like the most entitled, I guess, Republican point of view.
Yeah, that part is very true even today.
Yeah.
Like the GOP not giving a shit about homeless people, poor people, letting them die because, you know, they can't get a job or they reek of shit.
Yeah.
Well,
I'd love
and
to
it's
help you, but I
also-
have nothing in common with you.
Oh my god. It's brutal.
That line is on the nose. But just the idea too that it's like there's no understanding of situations. It's like, why don't you get a job? Why don't you just get a job?
Yeah.
Right, and that idea that it's easy for you, so it must be easy for everyone. Everyone's dad owns the company.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He says, I had a job, but I lost it. And Bateman goes, for what? Insider trading? Just joking.
Yeah, it's so smug.
You reek of shit.
He's so smug and gross. Yeah, I'm not empathizing with him at all. I think
Nope.
there were more homeless murders in the book. And he does reference it in the movie, too, that he's killed a bunch of homeless people.
Yeah, I read that they had to cut out a lot of the stuff from the book to get an R rating.
Like versus an X rating?
NC-17.
Oh, right. That makes sense.
Because
they show the
originally...
head. But he can't fuck it.
That's the compromise.
The movie was given an NC-17 rating, and then they had to go to court, and then they had to do edits.
I wonder if the
Wow.
NC-17 is available anywhere.
That'd be hot.
Silence from the girls.
Although the parts that I like is like the dialogue more than the act. I don't necessarily like seeing like, dismemberment. I just like the way they talk and act.
Yeah, but there's some moments in that, like I think, and again, it's been like 15 years since I've read the book, but this did stay with me. I think what happens after his moment with Bono is he goes to the zoo and sees a little kid and maybe stabs him or something. He starts, but then he acts like he's a doctor and he's trying to save the kid. And it's really fucked up, but I feel like it is funny because as he's doing it, he's like thinking of Bono.
Well, and I think child murder usually turns people against you.
Yeah, which for me, the homeless murder did that too. And then he fucking stomps that cute dog.
Ugh.
I hate that. But yeah, it really fucked me up in a weird way. Like I knew it was coming, but his acting is just like so ruthless and so cold. And I think probably because of where we are now with coronavirus, where it's basically like, yeah, if you're poor, you're just fucked. You get sick and you die, and that's it. And we don't give a shit because it doesn't affect us until it does, of course. That it just felt like extra weighted.
I was surprised in that moment. Like I said, I didn't see this. Because I thought at first that he was going to like lure him back to his apartment or something, kind of like in Groundhog's Day, how Bill Murray's like always trying to take care of that old man on the street. And so when he killed him all of a sudden, I just didn't see it coming.
Yeah, it was very out of the blue.
I think I remembered it from the movie and or the book.
You think you remembered it because you've seen it before?
Well, I saw it in theaters, so I was a very young person. And it was a long time ago that I did either one, that I read the book or saw the movie. So it's been a good 15 years since any of my American Psycho dalliances.
Have you read the book, by the way?
I have read the book.
Oh,
it's
really?
by Bret Easton Ellis, and it stars Christian Bale.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That was smart of
The
him.
book stars Christian Bale?
Yeah,
Yeah.
isn't that nuts?
He wrote the foreword.
I remember there was also this thing in the book, because I thought it was funny at the time, and now I'm like, oh, it was just racist, was he goes and sees this, I think it's maybe like an Asian man doing karaoke, I think, or it's one of those restaurants where people just sing or do impersonations, and I think it's like an Asian Frank Sinatra impersonator, and it's written out, that's Sry come hiddle stale, that clazy witchcraft.
What is that?
Basically supposed to be like that song, but they switched all the L's and the R's.
Oh.
So it was like written out that way. So I guess in addition to misogynist, you could say Bret Easton Ellis might be racist.
Is he racist, or is Patrick Bateman misogynist and racist?
Right.
It's all a commentary on like the bad people. So
Right. So who's to say? Like, I don't think Mary Harron is racist or misogynist.
no, they're making fun of them. They're making fun of white entitled men, Republican men.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially that scene when they're like at a boys' club or whatever, and they're all smoking cigars, and they talk about the perfect woman.
Yeah.
Or just that women can't have good personalities. It doesn't exist unless they're ugly.
But also, like, the perfect woman is someone who will like satisfy all your sexual demands without being too slutty about it.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm like, how the fuck do you do that? What kind of tightrope is that?
Yeah, Madonna whore complex.
You got to really walk that fine line to be the perfect one.
It is interesting to me how he's like talking about being very removed from human feelings and human exchanges, but then he is pretty hell-bent on getting Samantha Mathis's character, whose name I can't remember right now. He's like, he does seem like it's important to him that she's willing to come out with him, which, why? She's like asleep, literally asleep at the table anyway, but it seems like it matters to him to have her out. Also, like, how is everybody having these affairs so publicly?
Yeah, nobody seems to care. They're all disposable.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. I do like in that scene with Samantha Mathis, though, he's like, you should have like another, what is she on? Valium or something?
Yeah.
Oh, lithium.
Oh, lithium. He's like, you should take another lithium or have a Diet Coke or something.
Yeah, the
I think the
caffeine.
caffeine will help.
Like either or.
Right. I also love when he suspects that Justin Theroux and Reese Witherspoon are having an affair, and he says he's the only interesting person I know. He doesn't even consider himself interesting.
Justin Theroux looks the same also.
Yeah, it's crazy. I said the same thing when we were watching.
I know. I didn't know he was in this, and he's so hot.
Timothy Bryce.
I remember when I first watched the movie, I was annoyed because by the end it seemed like it was all in his head, and it felt very much to me like, well, what was the point? And then when I read the book, it felt a lot more like it was happening. And this time watching the movie, I do think there are elements where he is like exaggerating or inflating, but it felt more like I could see how it's not all in his head watching the movie now versus when I did 20 years ago.
Jessica, what did you think? Was it real or was he just imagining things?
I cheated. I didn't know.
We're telling Brad.
I didn't know what the answer was, so I looked it up, and apparently, not too long ago, the director and the writer both came out and gave the answer.
Whoa.
I thought, maybe I'm wrong, I thought Brittany Sinella said that in the book it was supposed to be real, and she said in the movie it was supposed to not be real.
So what I found was that they both kind of gave interviews about it. I don't remember how long ago, but that Mary Harron had said that she regrets the ending because she wanted to make it ambiguous like the book, but she felt like it was too ambiguous.
Interesting. So was she trying to get across that it wasn't real?
Right. That's what, and especially like the writer or the co-writer also said, where she was like, basically in their minds, he did all those murders. He just exaggerated, like how great he looked or how great the prostitutes looked or how, the big explosion of the police car, like some of the stuff around it is like bigger or better than it was when it actually happened.
Yeah, I imagine the like explosion of the police car didn't happen that way. Maybe there weren't even cops chasing him because, I don't know, that seems like they would catch him. And maybe he didn't just like shoot a random old lady, but was killing homeless people and did kill prostitutes. So wait, she said the intention was always supposed to be that it was not in his head?
Right. That he's like an unreliable narrator. So the world you're seeing is like better and bigger, but he did kill those people.
Well, it's interesting because it is.
Does that ruin it? That's why I was like, I cheated. I'm like, does that ruin it if I tell you that?
Well, what I was going to say is it is ambiguous, and she says that it's ambiguous. So I think it still is in the eye of the beholder. You know what I mean?
And the journey for me is the enjoyable part. Whether or not at the end of the film you decide whether he did it or not doesn't really affect it for me. I always assumed that he wanted to, but he didn't actually, because everything was so fake.
Well, the confession scene is, I think that's my favorite part. Not the confessing, but when he meets up with the lawyer, he confessed on a voicemail too.
That's great.
Yeah. I don't think this is funny anymore.
Yeah. I love that nobody knows what he looks like. Like he's so
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
So if the murders were real, then how would you explain that guy being like, this is fine, I had dinner with Paul Allen a week ago?
Because Paul Allen is also interchangeable. He had dinner with some other guy who he thought was Paul Allen.
That's 100% my interpretation. That's so funny. Brad asked that same thing because he watched the second half of this with me last night.
Yeah.
And that's what I said. None of these people know who any of them are.
Yeah. Right. Unless you're like burning with jealousy the way he is toward Paul Allen, you're not going to remember who's who.
But they all look alike in a way that is so, like on purpose that if they have glasses, they have the same glasses. And they're like wearing the same kind of clothes and they've got the same complexion. And
they get their hair cut by the same people.
Though I have a slightly
and they're all vice presidents.
Yeah.
Right. It's funny because when I saw it in theaters, I remember that was the clincher for me that made me think it was all in his head. But then when I watched it now, exactly what you said. Like, it was like, oh, that's funny. Even his lawyer, literally his lawyer doesn't know what he looks like. His lawyer can't tell his own client apart. So how is he going to, know what Paul Allen looks like?
I'm Patrick Bateman.
The part to me that makes it more ambiguous is the apartment.
Yeah.
Oh,
because
and she's selling it?
Yeah, he commits these murders. It's like the big climax where poor Christy, is running through the apartment and she just cannot stop finding dead bodies. And it's very like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which he was watching earlier.
Yeah. And she runs around. I guess all the details can be embellished. So.
Yeah, where it's like there's a body in the bathroom.
Yeah. She's running around screaming and he's chasing her naked with a chainsaw. Nobody wakes up in the building.
Yeah, nobody catches her.
Naked except for like shiny white tennis shoes. Which I love that detail that he had time to put on shoes.
Yeah.
Maybe he never took them off.
Yeah, true.
But there's bodies and there's blood everywhere. It's like every room she goes into, there's more carnage. And then he comes back to clean it up the next day, and the apartment has all been painted, and there's a realtor selling it.
Yeah. I love that you say he comes back to clean it up. It never occurred to me that that's why he was coming back.
Oh, why do you think he was coming back?
I don't know, to relish in the carnage. And then
because he goes straight to that closet.
I thought he was picking up a Snapple.
But to me, that part, you could argue, makes sense both ways and doesn't make sense both ways. Because, like, if it wasn't a crime scene, why is the realtor fucking with him and being like, it wasn't in the New York Times? Right?
To me, that could be like a real estate thing of like, if you're a real estate agent, you probably have weird people showing up all the time, and you're trying to discern who is your client and who is like a possible creep that's just showing up to an empty house.
I guess so, but he's like well dressed. I don't remember exactly what he looks like in that scene, but generally he doesn't seem like a creep, even though he is. He
seems pretty creepy to me.
He just has to return some videotapes.
It overlaps a little with being there for me because Chauncey Gardner always says, I like to watch. And then this is, I have to return some videotapes. Chauncey Gardner's not a creep. Yeah, it kind of, to me, made sense if like it had been a murder scene and she's just trying to fill the apartment anyway. And crime scene has like collected all the data or whatever. But like it is also so crazy that it's so immaculate so quickly. But then at the same time, if he didn't really do it, what is with him? Like he records the outgoing message and then everybody's like, yeah, Paul Allen's in London, and he invites women over to Paul Allen's house and he gets the key off of Paul Allen's body. Like if it's in his head, then he imagines everything.
Yeah. It's hard to draw the line about what's real and what's not. If they're like, some of the stuff is real and some is not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's all, I think it's one way or the other. But if it's real and then those are really terrible police because they just really clean that crime scene super fast and painted over all the evidence. And
maybe it's also a comment on money wins. Who cares if there were murders here? We need to rent out this apartment. We're bleeding cash.
Capitalism. Mm-hmm. We have bigger problems than Sri Lanka.
Also, he defends Jews, which I can't help but kind of be offended by.
Also, there's that scene where he gets with Matt Ross, where Matt Ross thinks he's hitting on him when he's about to strangle him.
Oh, yeah.
And he's so grossed out by the idea of homosexuality that he then washes his gloves in the sink.
Yeah. That's a great detail.
And runs away crying.
I wonder if he is gay.
Patrick or Christian Bale?
Patrick Bateman.
Maybe.
You could see him being a repressed person, like who's taking it all out on women and murdering them. I guess he murders one guy.
Well, and in theory, he might also murder that security guard.
Right. And the other.
And the janitor.
Yeah. And one of the cops. And
oh, that part where he shoots the security guard, runs out and gets in the revolving door, and a janitor comes out and he just keeps the full revolution to shoot him and then revolve out.
Yeah.
Why is that not in more action movies? That's a great move.
It's a great comedy.
Yeah. Amir at that point was like, this is basically Top Gun? What did you say?
Oh, a Naked Gun movie.
Oh, yeah, Naked Gun. Right.
I also really liked when they were doing coke in the bathroom and Justin Theroux flips out and then he's like, sorry, dude, my steroids. It's just the world is so amped up that they're all on coke, they're all on steroids, they're all on lithium. Everyone's having sex with each other. Everyone's obsessed with business cards. It's great.
God, I miss the 80s.
I love with the business cards that by the time Lewis Carruthers comes with his business card, Bateman's posse is over it, but Bateman is still so invested. He really cares.
Well, and I also love the OCD of the neat freak with it, where he's diving across to put a coaster down.
Oh yeah.
And flips out when Chloe Sevigny is gonna put her sorbet down.
Put it in the carton.
The spoon, yeah. Oh, also the like insistence when Willem Dafoe comes to the office at bringing him, was it like a soda water with
Yeah.
lime? What was it?
Apollinars. I can always get you a lime.
I can always get you a lime. Yeah, that line is so good.
Well, and he says at some point, you know, you can always be thinner, you can always look better.
Mhm.
And then I was like, oh, now I relate to him because it's just like you're hungry.
He's a starving man.
Yeah, like, you know, being in Hollywood when I'm trying to like lose weight and stuff, I'm constantly a nutcase. So maybe if he just ate some of that sorbet, he would calm down a little bit.
Yeah, how does he? I guess there's a dichotomy of self-control because on the one hand he has this stuff in his freezer next to the woman's head, and has the control enough to not eat it, but he can't control himself when it comes to murdering women.
I think we never see him eat.
Is that true? Yeah, I think you're right.
He's at restaurants, but we never see him like put food in his mouth.
Yeah.
I think it all goes together, though. It's like he's trying to control these urges so much that he's controlling everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm realizing I don't think we ever see any of the rich people eat. Not just him. Like Evelyn, when in the breakup scene, they both have untouched dessert in front of them.
Right.
And
We definitely see like plates of food. I can't remember
Right.
if anyone eats
They
it.
like restaurants and they like food.
but not eating it, just looking at it.
Yeah. He also drinks a lot.
Ooh, that's kind of a nice tie-in to when he says to Sabrina, "Don't just look at it, eat it." That's kind of like them with food.
Oh yeah.
Only he's referring to Christie's asshole.
I did really like his bathtub, though.
I don't remember his bathtub.
He made Christy wash herself in the bathtub, and I was like, that is a cool tub. It's like black and square.
See, you like him.
It was cool. I was into it.
Also, I like his fury when somebody, I think it's Paul Allen saying that he tans at home. It really does foreshadow Trump, too, because, like, in hearing them talk about tanning beds, I'm like, who thinks about tanning beds? Who cares about tanning beds? And then I'm like, oh, yeah, Trump. That's the only male that I can think of who, like...
Tans.
Yeah.
But Trump was the biggest deal. It's like New York in 1988 or whatever. He was the poster child. He's what they all wanted to be.
But he's also exactly that of, like, my dad owns the company.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't work for anything.
Yep. And I can get you into that restaurant.
Yeah. A lot of
And then you get there and
parallels
it's a different restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah, that was funny too, how he's like tricking her into thinking they went to Dorsia. Also that you assume that it would be like a secret, but then Carruthers is like, oh, thank you for taking her to Dorsia.
There's almost like a weird thing of like, I'm so flattered that you wanted to fuck my wife.
Yeah, they're so like
Fiancé.
they're like property.
Yeah, it feels like if like he'd be offended if Justin Theroux wasn't having an affair with Evelyn or something.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't care at all. And that's a great moment too when he says, God, Amir, you probably remember the exact quote, but in the breakup scene with Evelyn where he says, like, it's just that I don't really care about you is all. What does he say?
Yeah, I forget the exact line.
Something like, you're insignificant to me is all. You just don't matter very much to me.
and the amount of times that he tries to tell people what he's doing and they just don't hear him or they choose not to. Like when he keeps saying, what do you say, murders and executions? And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, mergers and acquisitions.
Yeah.
There is like, it's an interesting look at how he just desperately wants to be caught.
You think so?
Oh, yeah, because then he's really unsatisfied when the lawyer won't give him credit for it and doesn't believe him. And that's like, from my limited experience with true crime, there's like truth to that like they want credit. They want people to know they did it, which is why I think when he confesses to all sorts of things that we didn't even see of. It's like he wants credit for every single crime he committed.
I killed a lot of people.
It's interesting because I know that about true crime and like actual criminals, but I felt like in this, it was more that he felt like he was going to get caught. So he was trying to get a lawyer's help as soon as possible. But then once the lawyer is like, I know that little, how does he refer to him? Not loser, but what does he say?
Oh yeah, that
Sure.
weak.
Right?
Yeah, he basically is like, I would have believed you if you hadn't said Patrick Bateman. Like that guy is never capable of pulling that off. Because even me, not a murderer and not wanting to murder people, if somebody was like, yeah, I would believe it if you didn't say that Avital loser, I would still be like, I could kill people. What do you mean? But yeah,
I don't know.
generally they do want
I
credit.
felt like in the frenzy of it that he really wanted credit, especially because throughout the movie he name drops famous serial killers. So there's
Yeah.
definitely
Right.
like that need where he's like, I am like them. I want to be famous like they're famous.
Yeah.
Which anyone that like starts quoting Ed Gein, I'm like, red flag.
Yeah.
Ted Bundy.
I love that nobody knows who they are either. Ed Gein?
Yeah.
Ted Bundy? Who are these people?
I feel
Do they
like
work
Ed
on
Gein's
Wall
a little
Street?
bit more believable that you would know his name, but I'm like, everyone knows Ted Bundy's name, right?
Yeah. From the Zac Efron movie.
Of course.
Zac Efron would be the Paul Allen if they shot the movie today.
Every time they said Paul Allen, that's the owner of the Seahawks. So as like a sports fan, I was like, why do they keep saying this so much?
Yeah, I wonder if he was already rich and famous then. That's why they used that word.
Well, at some point, I think it's when the detective comes in, he's like saying he's got a lunch with Cliff Huxtable, and I was like, from the Cosbys?
Yeah. Uptown.
Oh yeah, there's a recurring thing of people telling him he's like not going to make it to where he's going in time. All right, if you are any character in this movie, who are you?
Oh boy.
Timothy Bryce, a.k.a. Justin Theroux. I'm the most interesting person Bateman knows, and I'm fucking his wife. How cool is that?
Okay, sorry, why is that you? How is that you?
Because I'm hot, and I'm interesting, and I'm sleeping with Reese Witherspoon.
But how?
Well, the equivalent of Reese Witherspoon.
What's that?
You.
Okay. All right, I'll take it. Jessica?
I think there's definitely part of me that would be like Chloe Sevigny. That would maybe, I don't know if I would be now, but definitely in my 20s of like being charmed by being told that I'm prettier than this. I think I would have fallen prey to that.
You're better looking than that.
But then also like a little bit of like Willem Dafoe within like I'm trying to do a job, but I'm also slightly getting won over by these people and being willing to go have lunch with them and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's relatable. What about you?
I think I'm Courtney Rawlinson, the character played by Samantha Mathis, because if I were having to be around these people all the time, I feel like I would be on a lot of drugs, and that would be how I would cope. And as it is, I'm already like, fuck, why didn't we get to see Bestia? So when she's too fucked up to leave or do anything or
Dorcia.
care. Sorry, Dorcia, not Bestia.
Bestia's the real restaurant.
Yeah. So because she's like, no, I'm just going to stay home. And then he's like, I got reservations at Dorcia. And she's like, Dorcia? So I'm like, I get it. I want to see it. I don't know what it's like there. Also, I like drugs. So yeah.
So here we
that's
are.
me.
We just have to drug you up and then we can tell you we went places.
And then
Yeah.
I can tell other people I went there. So mission accomplished.
In fact, we're just at an Olive Garden.
Or a soup plantation, RIP.
That's how you get through quarantine. You just believe you went out.
Yeah. So did you guys love this movie or what?
I appreciated it.
Thank you. That's all I can ask for.
I liked it a lot. I wouldn't have liked it as much, I think, directed by a man.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought it was really interesting that it's written and directed by women and that kind of puts an interesting spin on it that I like. And I'm glad that Leo didn't get it and give it to a man to write and direct.
Yeah.
This feels like it's a different take, a different voice. It's like, I really appreciate that it's a complete vision.
Yeah.
And it has a very clear message, which I appreciate.
What's that?
That
Yeah,
capitalism
don't trust
is-
men.
Yeah. Republicans kill people and nobody seems to care. And it's true even today.
Oh, yeah.
Don't trust men with skincare regimes.
That's right. So smooth.
Just say no to men with.
Oh yeah, how many times does he say just say no? That's a very Nancy Reagan talking point.
Well, we did it. I think we didn't love it as much as you did, but I liked it very much.
All right.
Yeah. I'll still give it an A.
I liked it better than Funny Games.
Wow.
That's good.
I appreciate that.
I appreciate how much Naomi Watts is in Funny Games compared to how little Reese Witherspoon is here. I liked, I liked my women actors up front, but I think I liked it better.
Well, Reese Witherspoon, I think, is funnier in this than Naomi Watts is in Funny Games, despite the title.
I thought Reese Witherspoon was really great. I wanted more.
Yeah, me too.
Me too.
I mean, my favorite scene was hers. That line was my favorite. I just don't think it would work in response to him proposing a breakup. So good. All right, I hope you guys are staying safe and sane. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Bye.